everyone, Melderon TV here, back on another vlog. First I want to apologize for not posting as frequently as I have been in the last couple of weeks. If you watched my last Super Play Brothers with Defcamp, I explained that things in work have been crazy, and Defcamp has been also equally busy, so just want to apologize for that. Okay, so today's episode, today's vlog, is going to be about what my favorite faction is in World of Warcraft. And thanks GP30 or Gaming Pass 30 for putting up your suggestion. I really like your name, by the way, because I am one who games past 30. So I really enjoy your comments all the time. Anyway, so what's my favorite faction? Honestly, if I made this vlog a year ago, I probably wouldn't have made a vlog because there would be no contest. And I'm not going to tell you what that faction is, but I'm sure if you watch my videos from day one, if you're one of the old guys, you know what I'm going to say. However, it's gotten a little bit more complicated over the past year. I'm not saying that my preference has shifted at all, but I think it's become a lot more. I've learned a lot more about the game. And if you know my history, I started in late vanilla. I didn't really get to experience a lot of vanilla endgame at all. And I really became a player during the Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King years, a much better player. So let's go back to my first character. My first character was an undead. His name was Melderon, and he was a warrior. I liked the undead for the way they looked and the story and the package. When you look at the character selection screen, there's like a story for each race. I like that. I like the Arthas quest line from Warcraft 3. I thought being an undead would be awesome to fight against the Scourge and fight Arthas. So that was my first thing. Plus, the guy who got me into the game was Horde. So why would I play on a different faction, right? So I played Horde through Vanilla, through the Burning Crusade, through the Wrath of the Lich King. It wasn't until Cataclysm that I actually tried Alliance. So I never experienced the Old World Alliance quests, zones, all that stuff, prior to making my warrior on Light's Hope, Melderon TV. So let's go into, you all know probably, if you never played the game, there are two factions, okay? There's Horde and Alliance. The Horde is comprised of, during Classic, the Tauren, the Orcs, the Forsaken or the Undead, and the Trolls, the Darkspear Trolls specifically. And the Alliance is made up of the Dwarves, which I believe is Wildhammer and Dark Iron. I could be wrong about that. It might not be Wildhammer, I have to check that. And the humans, which are of Stormwind. Like, there are many human, there used to be a lot of human kingdoms. Okay, Lordaeron was one of them. You know what happened to Lordaeron. If you don't, play Warcraft 3. The Night Elves and the Gnomes of Numerigan, who don't really have a hometown anymore. Anyway, so I played Undead. And I played Undead all the way up until Wrath of the Lich King when I made my first Orc. And I really didn't want to play the Orcs because I consider them to be, like a lot of you Alliance players probably consider them to be kind of, maybe even dumb, or I know Alliance players call them filthy. But it's when I made an Orc character that I really delved into the Horde lore. Either reading books, if you like reading, I highly suggest reading the books by Christy Golden, and I can't remember the male author. There's a lot of books that are written in the core storyline. They're official lore books. Very, very good. The Thrall one's excellent. The Arthas one's excellent. Anyway, I delved into the books, and I realized, like, something about the Horde that I never really knew, and it was something that probably I did know and I never really embodied, is that there's so many things about the Horde that I personify with as well. And I think one of them is that they're underdogs. They don't know their place in the world. They have differing objectives in what they want to do, and that causes a lot of drama and strife. And I think the Horde, even though they're not human, there's no humans in the Horde, obviously, I would argue are more human than any other, than the Alliance, meaning that the emotions that they go through, the struggles that they go through, we all go through struggles, and I think the Horde personifies that in the struggles that they go through. And let's just go through the races. I'm not going to tell you what my favorite race is on either faction because that's another vlog in itself. So the undead, of course, are they have been risen from the dead by Arthas to be part of the Scourge. They were freed from the bonds of the Lich King by Sylvanas Windrunner when she broke free of the Lich King. So they have this amazing story of it's a redemption / vengeance story where they're freed from the shackles of the undead. They know they've died. They know who they used to be, and they have to struggle in this world that hates them and despises them. Even the Horde, some of the races of the Horde despise them. They're unnatural. They are considered evil, maybe perhaps dark magics, you know. So they have this struggle to fit in, to be accepted, to have a place in the world. And this is a common theme for all the Horde races, the place in the world thing, right? So to me, as a human being, I think I've gone through all those struggles in my life. And I kind of briefly alluded to this back in the last vlog where I said, when I was a kid growing up, there was two parts of me. There was a side of me that wanted to conform to what society wanted me to do, and there was the other side of me that was into all the other things that society pretty much shunned upon during those times, during the 80s and 90s. Tabletop RPGs, games, comic books, drawing, writing, all these things that probably back when I was a kid you'd be considered a dork for doing. I don't know how it is now. I'm not in grade school. Fill me in the comments if it's changed. I think it has from my perspective, and I was always caught between, you know, what I wanted to do over here, the nonconformist in me. You're gonna make fun of me, call me a nonconformist from South Park, and then the conformist part of me that play sports, you know, go get a job, you know, get a bachelor's degree, just get something you can make money in, you know, do all these things, get married, have kids, all these things right here, right? And there's this part of me that's like, wait a second, I like all these other things. And for me, finding my place in the world has always been a struggle for me. And I think that the Horde, specifically the undead, when I first picked the undead, embodied that part of me. You know, so that's the undead part. And, and we can go on. So we can go on to the orcs. Under control of another power, under control of Gul'dan and Ner'zhul first, and then Gul'dan, and then the demonic possession they had, the demonic, the green skin that gives them the green skin when they drink the blood of the demons. They're under this bloodlust, they're not themselves, right? They're thrust into this other world, Azeroth, to fight the denizens, the people who live there, the humans, the dwarves, the gnomes, and the high elves, and the night elves later. So they're fighting, and then, you know, because they just conquest and bloodlust. And then the demonic possession's taken away, and they're like, they can't get back to their home world because it's been destroyed. The portal's been destroyed. Now what are they going to do? And I think a lot of groups of people feel them because you're in a strange place. The culture is very, very different. Anybody who's immigrated to any other country feels that. Anybody who's tried to become friends with a different group of people know, you know, they're an outsider. They have to, you know, what is it like? And unfortunately, the orcs had already made a name for themselves to the other races of Azeroth as trouble, right? And they defended themselves rightfully, but do they deserve what the humans and the other races have given them? Do they deserve the label that they've given them? I don't know. Again, there's a lot of gray area with the Horde, and that's another reason why I love them so much, is that there's just so much back and forth. It's not always black and white with them. You know, they used to be evil, the orcs. Now they're just trying to survive. And that's me, you know. Every day you go out to work, you're trying to survive. There's things that you can do that are negative. There's things you can do that are positive. And you're trying to fight between what's good and what's bad. And that's the beauty of the orcs, I believe, is that they embody that struggle. The Tauren, probably the most liked race on the Horde from the Alliance perspective because they're nature peace-loving. You know, they've had strife. Of course, they've had strife against the Centaurs and all these things. But the Tauren, for me, the part of the Tauren that I embody is the love of nature, and I love the culture. I love Native American culture. So, you know, as you can tell, if you played a Tauren, you know that it's heavily borrowed from Native American culture. So I love that. And let's move into the Trolls quickly. So the Trolls, believe it or not, are the most ancient race by far, playable race by far. And interestingly, the Night Elves actually come from the Trolls. They have been mutated from magics, and they came from the Trolls. But the Trolls were fighting the Black Empire and other forces for thousands of years before the Night Elves even existed. You know, and they're an old race. They've been fragmented. They've had great empires. The empires have fallen and risen again and fallen, and they may seem very simple to the observer when you're first picking them, but the history, they have the most dense history of any other race, because there's so many different types of trolls, so many different kinds of empires, different gods, loas, all these things, and they have this really rich heritage and lore behind them. And again, you know, they've been fragmented in different ways, and they've lost their glory. They've lost their past glory, and they're trying to rise up again. And for me, I have bad days, I have bad years, and I try to come back up. So it's the struggle that makes the Horde, to me, so interesting. And I'd argue they're more human than the humans are, at least in what they've gone through and the themes in their lore, right? So that's the Horde for me. And until last year, there was no ifs, ands, or buts. Loktar Gar, victory or death, if you don't know what that means. I bleed red. There is no coming back from that. However, I've had the awesome experience of playing Alliance now, from 1 to 60 on my Mel Mage, and now I'm playing through on my Warrior. And I'm experiencing the old world Alliance quest hubs and the lore and all that stuff, and it's awesome. It's great. I love it. It's a fresh new coat of paint for Warcraft for me because I never experienced it. And I believe, you know, and now I'm seeing all the little innuendos going on between the humans fighting the Defias Brotherhood, and how the Defias were shunned by Stormwind and forgotten after all the things they've done for Stormwind, rebuilding it, and they've been pushed to the side. And there are many groups of people that can feel what they're going through. The Night Elves losing their immortality, and trying to protect their woodland realm from invaders. The Gnomes lost their home. Everything they've ever had is destroyed, and they're trying to rebuild themselves. And the Dwarves, who honestly I know the least about, but I find Dunmoreau and Loch Modan awesome places to level in, and I have a newfound respect for the Alliance that I never had before. I used to, if they're red, they're dead. Yeah, you know, kill the Alliance any chance you have. I'm not saying I won't do that when I'm playing a Horde character, but at the same time, it's like I have newfound respect for the Alliance that I never, ever had. And it makes me want to read more of the lore for the Alliance. And I can't recommend enough, if you guys get a chance to read the Chronicle books. They're published by Blizzard, I believe. They're nice hardback, filled with pictures and explaining how the world works. And I have to say, disclaimer, if you're not into how the lore has changed over the years, there's a lot of that in it, but all the old stuff is in there too. So it's like really good. You can read them really quickly. They're not long reads. They have a lot of pictures. But it makes you like appreciate every race, every class much, much more. And you get to understand the classes that you're playing better. And for role-playing experiences, it's great. So, yeah, those are the, you know, that's how it comes down to it. And before I reveal what my favorite faction is, I'm sure you know what that is by now. I want to say that if you play a faction, if you pick that faction, really kind of delve into the class and race that you're playing and learn as much as you can about them. one more thing I forgot is that another reason I never played Alliance is because I always thought the races on the Alliance were puny. And you're going to laugh at me when you say that, probably. They're like, oh, whatever. But still to this day, I can never play as a gnome. I'm sorry, anybody who plays gnome, I have to envision myself striking fear into my enemy, and something that's this big, like this big, I just can't. I can't role play as. I always thought the night elves looked stupid. I always thought that the humans were always fine, whatever. And then like the dwarves were small as well. And that was also a huge turnoff for me from the Alliance. Just the appearances. I know that's very shallow, but at the same time, I just want to give you into my head how I work. Again, after playing the Alliance now, those things are starting to fade away. Anyway, I wanted to say that real quick. So play the faction you want to play. That's the most important thing I could say, and I know everyone does. But don't just pick a faction based on some race class combination. Play the faction you want to play because it's the lore behind it is so awesome, and being that character, being the struggle that they embody is I think is an awesome experience. So if you haven't figured it out already, my favorite faction, hands down, is the Horde. So they, to me, each race in some way embodies my personal beliefs, my personal feelings, the struggles I've gone through in my life, my emotional states, all these things. The Horde embodies that. I also like their architecture. I always thought the Alliance was a little too clean for me. Again, that's a preference. JR, my good buddy JR, who's in a lot of my older videos. If you ever watch my really, really old videos, I mean, some of them are a really big cringe fest, but in one of them he says, he's from my older videos, but when he tried an Alliance character, he said everything looked too clean to him, and I thought that was really interesting. I never really noticed that, but everything looks too picturesque. But the Horde is definitely my favorite faction. For the Horde, Lotaragar, through and through. That's not to say I won't play an Alliance character when Classic comes out. I will play an Alliance character, probably be my warrior, and I'll roll a shaman on Horde, so I'll have both. So I want to try something new real quick. I'm going to try a new little segment. It's called Melderon IRL. And what this is it's a little bit of an extra little piece of content that I want to make at the end of my vlogs that has to do with me in real life. Not so much what I'm doing that day, or I don't want to tell you like, oh, I drank coffee today and I went to the bathroom 3 times. I'm not going to do that. That's what Twitter's for. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you about things that I'm experiencing in real life, and maybe make some recommendations for you, or things I've eaten, or anything. So this week, this vlog, what I want to talk about is a movie. I consider myself a pretty big cinephile. I like movies a lot, and I like going to movies a lot. And I feel in those last 5 years, there's been a huge shift in media, whereas movies to me have been really, really not doing well. A lot of movies have been really bad. A lot of remakes, a lot of reboots, all these things. Like, there's no original ideas. However, the TV market with Netflix original series and all these things have been spectacular. So I think we're seeing a shift, whereas TV was always kind of mediocre growing up for me, but movies were great, and it's kind of moving in the other direction. The movie I saw recently is called Annihilation. It's based on a novel by Jeff Vandermeer that I also read before seeing the movie. I wanted to read it and compare. The book is a very quick read. It's less than 200 pages. You can burn through it pretty quickly. And what the premise of the story is that there's this area called Area X. It's somewhere in the world. They never really tell you where it is. But it's like closed off from the rest of the world by this magical barrier. Think Dalaran. It looks just like Dalaran before it went up into the air. So classic Dalaran, before Wrath of the Lich King. And anyone who goes into this zone, if they come out, they either don't come out, they've either died in there, or they're not themselves. Something's wrong with them. So the book and the movie deviate a lot, but there's 2 ways you can make a movie from a book, right? You can stick to it as hard as you possibly can, or you can make it your own. And I think opposite ends of that spectrum are always good. One example on this end of the spectrum would be sticking to the book as much as possible with Lord of the Rings. Yes, there were changes from the book, and anybody who's read the book knows that. However, it's very, very, they try to squeeze as much into it as they possibly can. Very, very good book adaptation. In the middle, I'd have something like The Hobbit. There you go. he tried to, you know, Peter Jackson, who did great over here, just like, I don't know what happened over here, but he tried to stick a lot of elements in from the book, but then just put so much other stuff into it, and it was just a hodgepodge of, like, it didn't work. And on this end of the spectrum, I like to say Annihilation or The Shining, things like that. You know, The Shining was based on the book, but loosely based on the book. There was a lot of things that were not in the book. There was a lot of things that were omitted from the book. Stanley Kubrick really took creative license there, and he did a great job. The book's great, though, as well. Stephen King, if you like the book. Definitely read it if you haven't read it. So Annihilation is on this end of the spectrum. The director, who also did Ex Machina, I don't know his name, really took creative license with this and really went into a different direction. And it was fantastic. One of the, probably the best, definitely the best movie I've seen this year. And now it's only February or March, but it even probably one of the best movies I've seen even in 2017. Dunkirk is doesn't really count because Dunkirk was phenomenal, but so it's probably near Dunkirk. Anyway, Annihilation was, the acting was great. And going back to the premise, these 4 female scientists, is it 4 or 5? It doesn't really matter. Go into the Zone X, and they try to figure out what's going on, and things ensue. So that's what you're going into. They're going into this realm to see what happens, and they don't know what they're going to find out. They don't know what they're going to see or anything like that. And they go into this and just explore, and they find out all this amazing mysteries and stuff like that. So it's an amazing, amazing story. And Natalie Portman, who's the lead actress, does amazing. She's amazing in the movie. And it gets to this point at the end where, if you've never seen 2001: A Space Odyssey, another Stanley Kubrick movie, which I cannot recommend more, the last 5 to 10 minutes of 2001 are a complete mind fill in the blank. And you don't know what's going on. And there's so many different things happening. And you're just like totally like, what is going on? And then the movie ends and you're like, wow. And that's how this ended. And it was an awesome ride. It was so much different from the book. So if you've read the book, don't expect it to be the same thing. It's loosely based on it, but it's still very, very well done. So just wanted to give you a little recommendation. If you're going to the movies, if you haven't been to the movies in a while, because you're sick and tired of Superhero X movie or Reboot X movie, I hope you enjoy it. Annihilation. It's out in theaters now. I'm not getting paid by Annihilation, by the way. I'm just giving my recommendation. So if you like these Melderon IRLs at the end of the vlogs, please let me know. I'll continue to do them. If you don't like them at all, I won't do them. But I have a lot of fun doing it because I feel like it gives a personal flair to my videos. Stay on the lookout for new Super Plate Brothers coming out. We should have a Vanilla WoW discussion coming out soon. I'm going to apologize that the videos, for at least the foreseeable couple weeks, are going to be coming out at a much slower clip than you're used to. So, sorry about that. Also, I'm going to give a shout out to all the new subscribers. Welcome. There's a lot of stuff. We have over 100 videos. Watch them when you're doing whatever. There's a lot of them that are pretty long. You can watch when you're doing something else. I hope you enjoy them. Leave comments down in the comment section down here, or any of the other videos. Leave comments. I try to answer all comments if I can. So yeah, welcome to the channel. And for you subscribers who've been here since day one, I love you guys just as much. And it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing this. So, all right. So next video should be a Super Plate Brothers or a vlog. I'm not sure yet. We're going to be probably doing some more quests in Dustwood, perhaps maybe another dungeon, we'll see. But until then, let me know what your favorite faction is and why, and I'll see you in Azeroth. Have a great day, everyone. Love yous.